both Adam Levine and Lil Wayne wanted her on their record label, but she chose to stick with Island Records, which they're actually a really good record label.
Yeah, they are. Happy Friday, peeps. Welcome to another episode of Murders, Mysteries, and More. My name's Kaylee.
My name is Desi.
Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit the bell next to the subscribe button to turn on post notifications. Before we get into this case, we always encourage those who have useful information to any unsolved case, please report it to your local police and sheriff department.
From Thriller Michael Jackson to Purple Rain Prince to California Tupac, their unexpected deaths hit the music community and fans especially hard. June 2016, news broke out that pop singer Christina Grimmie was fatally shot. Today we will be discussing one of the most heartbreaking deaths, not only for the music community, but also for the YouTube community. This is Christina Grimmie's story.
Christina Grimmie was born in Marlton, New Jersey on March 12, 1994. Her parents are Bud and Tina Grimmie. She has a brother named Marcus. She was super close to him. He was only 1 year older than her. They would play video games together, specifically Super Mario. They even wanted to get matching tattoos, with one of them having one that says Player 1 and the other one saying Player 2. Her family was very supportive of her musical interests. Tina, her mother, was diagnosed with breast cancer, which made things very difficult for their family. She had to go through extensive chemotherapy, and sadly, it was only a temporary solution for her. She was raised as a Christian. She has a tattoo from one of her favorite scriptures, and that tattoo says, "All is vanity."
Christina got into music at around 6 years old. She was a part of her church's choir and taught herself how to play piano. Her parents were extremely supportive of her musical interest, and her dad even got her piano lessons. She was very musically gifted, and she recorded singing videos in her bedroom, but she was super shy about it and didn't show the videos to others at first. She mostly recorded them so she could improve on her music. Christina finally got the guts to show these people the videos she recorded of herself, and many people realized that she was talented and had potential.
Her family and friends encouraged Christina to share these videos. And as we know, in the late to mid 2000s, YouTube was booming, and this would be a great opportunity for Christina. At this time, song covers and comedy skits were trending, hence Christina would fit right in. One day, Christina's friend showed her a viral video of a girl singing on YouTube, and the friend told her that she sang better than this girl and encouraged her to post singing videos on YouTube. Christina took the opportunity and created a channel called Zelda X Love 64. And then on July the 17th, 2009, she would post her first video. And the video was a cover of Don't Wanna Be Torn by Hannah Montana. It was a huge success.
The following week, she posted another video of her covering Party in the USA. This video did even better. This would be the kickstart of her posting weekly YouTube videos. She considered her subscribers more like friends than fans, and her fans were super loyal. They would share videos and continue to encourage her to sing more. Like any parent would be, they were a little bit skeptical about her being on YouTube, not because they didn't want her to do what she loved, but because psycho people on the internet. Christina was only 15 years old at this time. Her father monitored her comments just to make sure there wasn't anyone crazy there. Her father mentions that he found nothing, but tons of sweet and lovely comments about his daughter's singing ability.
Her father was extremely proud. Christina was finally doing something that she loved, and she was also helping others. A good example is people would comment how they were going through a tough time, and they would just turn on one of the videos of her singing, and it would make their day a million times better. Although, yes, her singing is incredible, so is her personality. She was goofy and relatable, and if she messed up, she didn't care, she'd just laugh about it. And then her videos were doing so well that they caught the attention of Mandy TV, which is Selena Gomez's mom. After Mandy retired from acting, she decided to work behind the scenes and become a manager in the showbiz industry.
The first video Mandy saw of her singing was a cover of My Heart Will Go On by Celine Dion. She was blown away. Selena Gomez also watched the video and was stunned by her incredible voice. Mandy didn't have much luck finding Christina on different platforms. Mandy eventually got in contact with Christina's brother Mark to get a hold of Christina. Christina accepted the offer for Mandy and Brian, her husband, to manage her. Christina Grimmie got to be a part of Selena Gomez's and the Scenes tour as a support act.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
At this time, Christina's mama was very sick, and her father couldn't go on tour with her because he was taking care of her mom. However, her brother Mark stepped up. He was 18 years old and he could supervise his little 16-year-old sister. Mark himself was also a musician. He played the guitar, so this would be a great opportunity for him as well. And they had a blast touring together. Mark also had the opportunity to go on stage and play with his sister. And then in 2013, Selena Gomez was going to go on tour solo and decided to invite Christina as a support act. Selena and Christina would become really close, and then in between these tours, Christina went on the Ellen show. She even opened for a show with the Jonas brothers. Around this time, when she really started picking, like her music career started taking off, her family made the tough decision to move to Los Angeles, as this would allow Christina to pursue her music career.
Now, as far as her music releases and achievements, she had over 2 million subs on YouTube. In August 2013, she released an album called With Love. She wrote most of the album, but Avril Lavigne does have some writing credits in the album, like, most albums, because Avril Lavigne is a lyrical genius, of course.
Yes, she is.
It hit number 101 on the US Billboard of 200. In 2014, Grimmie was on the 6th season of The Voice, which you have to be invited back in order to be on there. And she performed Wrecking Ball on The Voice, and she actually won 3rd place. On February 2016, her second extended play, Side A, was released. It reached number 17th on US independent albums and was at number 171 on the US Billboard 200. 2016, she won Teen Choice Award for Teen Web Star, and both Adam Levine and Lil Wayne wanted her on their record label, but she chose to stick with Island Records, which they're actually a really good record label.
Yeah, they are. I find it crazy that even Lil Wayne, but I mean, she had a really amazing voice, so.
I mean, Lil Wayne signed Nicki Minaj on, and look at how well Nicki Minaj has done, so.
True, yeah.
Lil Wayne has
well,
good taste.
Well, and everybody in the industry loved Christina.
True.
And then she has been on a few tours. So she went on a European tour with a band called Before You Exit. She also went on tour with Rachel Platten, and of course she's been on tour with Selena before. She got invited in 2016 again to go on another tour with Before You Exit, this time in the US. Now, touring and road life, as we know it, can be difficult, and Christina and her brother both felt this, so they decided after this tour they would come home and take a break. Christina wanted to write another album, or at least write some more songs. June 10, 2016 was the night of their final performance on this tour.
Christina and Mark had their suitcases and were ready to go home the next day. That night they played at the Plaza Live in Orlando, Florida. She sang a mix of covers and originals, and her brother Mark played guitar. Once the show was over at 10 o'clock, Christina would hang out at the merch table like usual. She loved to take pictures and talk to fans. Her brother would keep an eye out just to make sure Christina was safe. This old-ass fucking man approached her table, and many people said he was weird, extremely out of the ordinary kind of weird. His hands were sweaty and his face was bright red. She opened her arms to give him a hug when he pulled out a gun and shot her. This would unfortunately be the end of Christina's life. One bullet hit her head and she took 2 to the chest. Acting swiftly, her brother jumped onto the attacker to tackle him. He did manage to get the gun away, but did not realize Kevin had another gun on him. Mark thought this was the end, but to his surprise, Kevin pointed the gun towards his head. Bada bing, bada boom, Kevin is fucking dead.
He went the cowardly way out.
Yep.
So who exactly is this piece of shit? So Kevin Lobel is a Florida native that drove 2 hours to attend her show. He was way too obsessed with her. Like, I'm not talking like your typical celebrity crush, like, oh, Channing Tatum's hot. No, like, he was way too obsessed with her. He had no friends except one coworker, which he told the coworker that he and Christina were dating. But Christina, she didn't know who the fuck this man was. She had no idea. And he even said, like, he wanted to marry her and thought that Christina would fall in love with him, which is ridiculous. And he changed his appearance in extreme ways, like physically, because he thought maybe she'd like him. And I'm not talking about like putting on some nice clothes. Like, he was just extreme.
But it gets worse, of course. His coworker tried explaining to him how the real world works. Like, Christina isn't going to just fall in love with you. For crying out loud, she didn't know who this man was. And Kevin was furious and argued that he knew her and they played video games together, which was not. A month before the concert, his coworker reported Kevin to management, which management did absolutely nothing at all. June 5th, he talked to his coworker for the last time, which Kevin said he was ready to ascend. To be fair, coworker only knew Kevin briefly, so he didn't realize what this actually meant.
Yeah.
If somebody says ascend, that's like some weird godly shit.
That's some dark shit. Like, if somebody told me that, I would be definitely like calling 911.
When I think of people saying they're ready to ascend, I think of like they're about to draw a pentagram on the floor and sacrifice somebody. That's what I think of. That's a little weird. You know,
that's hella weird. So, the night before the last performance, Kevin got a hotel at the Marriott. He brought along the basic essentials like toothbrush, clothes, and he also brought murder weapons, which he bought a month prior. And these murder weapons consisted of a hunting knife, 2 shotguns, and a buttload of ammunition. And somehow, which you wouldn't be able to do this in today's age, but somehow he was able to walk straight up in this venue with the weapons on him. There were no metal detectors or searches, like usually there's back searches at the venue. Nothing of that sorts. After like the shooting, a couple videos did surface online of him at the concert, and he was weird because he was just standing there. He wasn't even dancing or bobbing his head to the music. Like, at least if you're trying not to look suspicious, at least act the part. No, he didn't even do that. And like, if I'm going to a concert, I'm gonna be bobbing my head, screaming the lyrics out. I'm gonna be having a good time. Like, he's weird. And the day of the concert, this man was pissed because he found out that Christina, she was either seeing someone, possibly in a relationship, wanted her all to himself. And he was like, if I can't have her, then nobody can have her. And this is exactly why he murdered Christina Grimmie.
Yeah, now onto Reddit comments, of course, like we always do. This Reddit thread is called 6 years ago, Christina Grimmie was murdered after performing a concert. Here's a video of her singing Titanium. Remember her by. But, Blue10022 says, this happened 2 days before the Pulse nightclub mass shooting, only a few miles away, by the way. Wasn't a good week for this city. Prophet Cat replied, that same weekend was when an alligator killed a 2-year-old at the Grand Floridian at Disney. Even worse week.
Yeah, that was definitely a horrible week for Orlando.
Yeah. It was not their year for sure. It's very But unfortunately, Orlando is very notorious for shootings, especially at
Yeah.
nightclubs, which is fucking weird. But I get it. I like that town is just it's all fucked up.
Well, in a lot of like bigger cities, because you have such a large amount of people, they're just gonna automatically just have higher crime rates.
Yeah. This is from somebody whose Reddit was deleted. I can't. Well, they responded to this person who said Grimmie was on the floor and bleeding from the head after CPR was performed on her and 911 was called. I can't even begin to imagine the trauma that goes with giving someone CPR to someone who's been shot in the head. Not to mention watching your sister being shot dead in front of you and a bunch of fans.
Yeah, imagine that.
Yeah, Commit 10 responded, "It's awful. My closest was a 70-year-old man who was sailing on a cruise. For his birthday with his whole family, including grandkids. He had an aneurysm and smashed the front of his head open on a pointy metal part of the boat. His family was screaming and wailing while I tried to do CPR, and while he was having agonal breathing, I'll never forget the sound or the smell of blood and the sort of death scent on his breath. I was 17 at the time."
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's like very
That's
young to
awful.
experience it, but it does happen. I hope that person became a paramedic, because kudos to you. Kudos.
Yeah, kudos to you.
Brewmac44 says these two purchased the guns legally, had a history of violence. Shouldn't be both true at the same time in any sane society, but we are in America, and America is very fucked up. They just let anybody have a weapon. to be
Right,
honest.
yeah. Like they definitely need like I feel like if they had more training, like gun training, and if they had better background checks and stuff like that.
Yeah, like, look here, I'm a mentally ill person and I have a gun. Like, responsible. I'm not that type of mental ill, you know? Like, I'm not gonna do it, but still, it's like the thought of, like, they let all these other mentally ill people have guns too. That's scary.
Right. That is scary. So Damage Square says return of spontaneous circulation is very unlikely when it comes to cardiac arrest secondary to a traumatic injury. While it keeps the blood pumping and oxygen moving to the vital organs, her brain had most likely been damaged beyond repair. The body is like a machine. You need all the parts to be in working order to keep it running. If the brain is damaged, the heart isn't ever going to work on its own again. In short, CPR isn't going to help, but it also isn't going to hurt because you never know. Sometimes miracles do happen. I've seen ROSC in traumatic arrest before. That's interesting.
Apparently E3 2016 happened that week as well.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's rough.
Well, I seem to recall some of the other conferences having a moment of silence for the tragedies in general. Nintendo, at the very least, mentioned her directly, as she was scheduled to visit E3 shortly after.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's very considerate of them to do so.
That is.
E3 is like a big ass convention too.
Right, like, yeah, everybody loves her. Like, people were fighting over her to be, like, on the opening act for their tours. It's crazy.
Very crazy. On to the next Reddit thread, of course, is called "One of the Last Known Photos of Christina Grimmie." She was shot and killed later by a obsessed fan who then turned the gun on himself.
And I'll be sure to post this picture.
Yeah, this is like, it's so sad.
It
Sky
is so sad.
M Reddit says, "I remember her, and her death was overshadowed by the nearby Pulse nightclub shooting the next day." Which is true, it was.
Yeah, that is true.
The successful expert 173 says, "I remember driving by her funeral in my town in New Jersey in June of 2016. It's very sad because she probably would have been a very big star. She'd probably be very big by now. Like,
Probably.
very big. But, of course, people have to... This is why we can't have nice things."
We can't. I found a good one. So, deleted. It says, "That breaks my heart, killed by some loony nut job with premeditated motives of death, while she opened her arms to embrace him with a hug. My God, my God, that sad rip to her. And wow, I don't even know what a fucking motive. She didn't even know he existed. Dude was Stan 2.0.
Yeah.
And then Welp Mart says, erotomania. It's a terrible thing. Letterman was stalked by a woman who suffered from it. Also, IIRC, of course, jealousy and its own poison mixing, but that man was deeply sick. That is.
I just hear Zoe shaking in the background. Oh my god. Neva Dita says, I remember her. She used to play Halo Reach, and I cross-matched with her twice, if I recall. Then she got big because she was friends with Selena Gomez, but still kept playing Xbox. She's remembered by a lot of peeps on the Xbox team for being an avid player, and also appeared on a couple of Xbox ads, if my memory serves me well.
That is true. She did play like those games, and honestly, like, Halo is a really good game. Like, I highly recommend people to play it. Like, it was one of the first video games I played, and it's an amazing game. Like, I would play it over and over.
Very first video game I played was Call of Duty.
Have you played Halo?
Yeah, but I didn't grow up playing Halo. I grew up playing Call of Duty.
I mean, that's a good game too.
Yeah, we were PlayStation people, so didn't really play Halo that much. We played Call of Duty. OG Call of Duties.
Prior to me becoming an adult when I was younger, I played more like Mario, Super Smash Brothers, those type things. So like more Wii type stuff. But then when my husband built our PCs, that was one of the first games he had me play was Halo.
Yeah, I always had a PS and a PC, so I played The Sims and Call of Duty and Harvest Moon and all that stuff because I had Wii too. And of course, can't forget the Nintendo 360s.
You cannot
bring those bitches on the bus.
Yeah,
I used to love those.
Christina's death should be a reminder why it is so important for concerts and music venues to have security. Not only that, but there should be more resources for mental health so that sick people like Kevin don't kill innocent people. Christina Grimmie will always be loved and cherished by the music and YouTube community. After her death, the Christina Grimmie Foundation was founded to help victims of gun violence. No pressure, but if you would like to donate, go to www.christinagrimmiefoundation.org to help those in need.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Murders, Mysteries, and More. Remember to always keep your eyes open because you never know when somebody's creeping.